Thanks for joining. I am still in the process of getting the hang of this, so we're doing a little by little. I'm going to start the broadcast, stop the broadcast, answer some questions. It's Freelance Friday, so let's get right to it. All right, so I am taking questions on Quora right now. If you have any questions yourself, feel free to hit me on Quora or just message me through YouTube if you happen to find this video somehow in the abyss of other YouTube videos. I don't know how you found me, but that's awesome. Welcome. So let's start trying to operate this thing here. If you can see. So I get a bunch of questions usually regarding Upwork and on Quora. So I'm just going to go right into those right now. So this was an interesting one right here. Is freelancing a legit way of gaining experience, or is it just a way that people use others' desperation to get free work without having to pay? Well, that's kind of a ridiculous question. It sounds like this person, I don't know, either had a bad experience with freelancing or has never been on, Upwork or something else that is legit. Because, you don't work for free ever. I've never had to work for free through Upwork. I've definitely had to work for free off of Upwork to try and get work, but never on it. I think it's great the fact that you really can't do anything without a contract in place. So I think it's great for building, gaining experience. I've gotten so much experience from doing jobs on Upwork. I'm always trying to kind of learn something new, whether that's like a new software platform or just like a new method of doing things. No two gigs have ever been identical, and I've had hundreds at this point. So I'm always, my whole thing is I'm always trying to go about like 10 to 20% more than I know on these gigs. So it forces me to figure some things out. If not, I would just get bored. I know some people really get dialed in with what they're good at and they just do it over and over again, like design work or something like that. But it's really not me, and I don't feel like that gives you the opportunity to grow. And that's the most fun of this thing. It's been really fun to learn more, to give myself a raise after every completed gig, to just keep building on your resume. So I've never wanted to get into the kind of just monotony of doing the same thing all the time. So I think it's a wonderful way of building experience and learning how to work with clients and figuring out how to make them happy and engage you for more work. So there's all these I think an art to this and becoming a freelancer. So yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about being forced to do free work and things like that, because I think these platforms do a good job alleviating that, versus I think in the past where maybe you had to prove yourself and didn't have any way of actually showing objective past work. An example is like, let's say let's say you're not on one of these systems and you're applying for a job, whether it's writing or design work or web page design. You would have to show the client like your portfolio and Behance or one of these sites, but it's not a third party site that makes sure that it's legit information from a legit buyer. These are things that you just put together. So anybody could do that. It could be plagiarized. There's no assurance in that. So typically when you're doing that, the client's going to want you to prove yourself somehow. So maybe if you just write this story and show me how you write and show me an example of your work. Well, again, on Upwork, I don't really ever have to show an example of my work outside of the portfolio that they create for you. So that, along with all the reviews and everything like that, is is my best salesman, really, because as soon as the clients talk to me, they've already seen that stuff. They know it's legit. And I don't think it's happened in years. Anyone's requested me to do free work and prove myself out of desperation. That's for sure. So great question, because I know that a lot of people are concerned with that and don't know if this stuff's a legit way of making money. And guys, it's totally legit. And thousands and thousands of job posts are being posted every day, and these people are not tire kickers. Like I've said, they are ready to do business. So it's completely legit. There's so many people freelancing these days, and it's just getting crazier and crazier with the whole COVID situation. So yeah, get on there. All right, so let's move on from there. So why aren't more people starting their own freelance business? That's a really good question. I think, kind of going back to what we just talked about, there's a lot of insecurity around freelancing. At least there was in the past. Now I think people are beginning to realize that the most security anyone can have is by building skills in yourself. I've never been more confident in my life now that I know that I can just successfully work remotely with clients all around the world. And I don't know if I would have had that confidence had I not, lived the experience through, myself and gone through this. So I think, when a couple, I don't know when this question was at. I mean, this was just asked today, but I think now more than ever, people are starting to realize that this is an actual career path that they can start their own business. I think in the future, everybody's going to be their own boss in a sense. And I've been preaching this for years. Everybody thought I was crazy 5 years ago, and they thought that full-time employment was the most secure you can be. But now, after we see COVID and what happens, that you can just be laid off in an instant, and then what? There goes your health insurance. There goes your 401k. Everything's gets completely messed up because it was all reliant on your employment status, which is crazy. I mean, it's kind of like they got you by the short and curlies because you have all this fear that you're going to be. There's so many ancillary things that are connected with the employment. And when you can figure out that, wow, you don't need any of that. I can buy my own insurance. I can make more money. I don't have to commute. I can work whenever I want, wherever I want. Realistically, zero limitations. Give yourself a raise whenever you want. To me, it's 10 times more stable because now I've instilled in myself that I have like a system and that system works. So I think what we're going to see is more and more people doing this. Fiverr and Upwork have been just exploding recently in popularity. The stock prices have gone through the roof. So everybody's recognizing this. Businesses, employees, or I don't even know if they're employees, but freelance people and investors, they're all recognizing this. I think it's going to be a very long time before we get into the normal full-time employment, kind of workplace environment, if it ever comes back. So we are in some crazy times right now, and it's exciting. It's exciting because what we can do now is work like there's no more geographical limitations. You could be in Akron, Ohio. I'm in Europe right now, and we can be working for the same company without any barriers. Everybody's on Skype. Everybody's on Zoom. I have clients in Australia, Asia. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore. No one cares. I remember even when I started doing freelancing, they didn't want to hear birds in the background or stuff like that when you're talking to people. People were legit offended if you weren't like butts in seat in an office or had a good excuse for not being at work. And now it's like, who gives a shit? Are you doing the work? Awesome. And I just think that once this genie's out of the bottle, I mean, who's going to want to go back to an hour commute and wasting 2 hours of their life every day? I mean, it is absolutely crazy. So I hate to see, like people are starting to go back to work, and I'm like resentful of it. I'm like, how are these employers like forcing some of these people to come into the office when they know damn well that there's so many different platforms that will help them, like Zoom, just collaborate, digitally. It's just unnecessary. So yeah, it's exciting times, and you're definitely going to see more people freelancing. It's definitely gotten more competitive, and it's definitely more difficult to get selected on the platform, on Upwork, on Fiverr. There's more competition, but you know what? That doesn't mean that there's not available jobs, because they are just streaming through. There's an abundant amount of jobs coming through. So just because there's more competition doesn't mean there's less work. I think that this pie is expanding so rapidly that it's really more about a competition with yourself versus a competition with other freelancers, because you can keep acquiring skills. You can keep being better than you were yesterday at these things. So I would just concentrate on that, and it's going to be a really awesome endeavor for you. So let's move on here. How illegal? Oh, I love when questions start off with how illegal. This is going to get good. How illegal would it be to make an account on a freelancing website, but to fake your profile and experience and outsource your work overseas? Great question. Well, it would not probably be like illegal. I don't think that there's any laws for such a thing other than just fraud, but I'm sure you're not going to get arrested for it. But here's the thing. So there's not, I mean, look, you can't do that. First of all, like, you can't pretend to be someone else, and that's so we're talking about a couple of different things. Like, are you saying that you're going to put like a fake picture on there and everything? Because that's definitely, you're not gonna pass the bullshit test on sites like Fiverr and Upwork, because they require like an actually video, back in, like, you guys do an interview and they verify that, and they're also checking government issued IDs and stuff like that. So you can try it, but it's definitely fraud, and they could sue you. So I would probably chill with that. Now, you brought up outsource your work overseas, but you know what, man? Like, you don't need to do the first part of that to do the second part of that. Outsourcing to other workers is very common in the freelance world. I do it. I know not millions, but there's a lot of people that do that. And some people make their whole business off of that. And some people just kind of have other people to help them. I have the latter of that. So some clients don't want to pay me, what they're paying me per hour. And I have people that can, do the busy work, or, fill in the blanks, or if I'm sick or something, like maybe they can come in and help out just to keep the project going or something like that. But in all of those situations, I'm very open with the client about that. So your best bet always when it comes to freelancing is honesty. So just take that, with everything, because if a client can't trust you, there's zero chance of you getting more work. And really all it's going to take is like one time to get called out, and you're finished. Now, I guess your thought is like, okay, I'm going to be completely fugazi, and I'm going to have a bunch of experts do the work for me, and I'm just going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. There's zero chance of that working out, because at some point, like, you're going to be called into question. And if you don't know what you're talking about, again, you're going to, like, I would know right off the bat. Maybe if you were like some really like crazy developer and doing code and I couldn't understand it, I mean, maybe you could pull the wool over my eyes, but but maybe you're a good project manager and the work's all getting done. So I probably wouldn't even care if it was you or someone else. Even if you told me, I work with a team and they help out. So there's all these nuances to a situation like this that it could be bad, it could be good, depending on the situation. I've hired many project managers who they're not the ones doing the work, but it's great because I don't have to talk to the developers, right? So I have a single point of contact and they talk to all these people. Maybe they don't even speak English and it's better. But the project managers that are good also know the code. They know maybe they're marketing professionals. They have a good idea. I know more than the people that I'm usually handing work out to. So if anything's ever called into question, I can quickly make sure we fix it, or I know I could just take the reins and if the project's going off the rails, I can bring it back on. But again, the client would be aware of the fact that there was other people on the team. A lot of times we're collaborating on a platform like Trello or something like that. And, we're bringing other members of the team in there. So everybody has a good idea of who's working on what. But again, going back to it, I think I'm smelling what you're trying to do. And I wouldn't just be a fraud because you're not going to make it. There's way too many solid people on there that are definitely going to beat you out. And again, one shady review where they're just like, this dude isn't the person that I'm talking to and he's a fake person. I've never been able to talk to him on Skype and blah, 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 blah. You're out of here, bro. Maybe you could have gotten by with it 5 years ago and stuff like that, but not anymore. It's that's over, and they're going to want to interview you. They're going to want to see some government issued ID. So it's very, you're cruising for a bruising, as my father would say. So let's take some more questions here. Okay. How do I protect cheating hour payment in Upwork? So are you talking about the freelancer cheating or the client cheating? So the cool thing about Upwork is that if you're hired on an hourly contract, you use the time tracker. So I think that's great because it takes the memos and you write what you're working on. So as someone that hires people, it's great because I can see what they're doing, vice versa. I love it because I know that if I'm working on a project, I don't ever have to, send a bill or worry about getting payment or something crazy happening, which is going to severely affect my business. So the time tracker on Upwork does a fantastic job, taking care of that for both sides of the coin. Now, could you cheat the system and just be screwing around and then, make sure that you have the screenshots right and blah, blah, blah? Yeah, I guess you could, but again, it's the law of averages. If you continue to just be a cheat and you're not getting your clients what they need, it's going to reflect in the reviews, and then that's only going to last maybe one or two times. And if that's a pattern, then again, it's not gonna bode well. There's going to be that diminishing returns on that, and it's eventually going to bite yourself in the ass. Instead, I'd focus more on not cheating and doing a really good job, and maybe even putting your own time into a project, even off the clock, just to make sure that the client's super duper happy. If you've seen some of my old videos, that's the stuff that's going to pay off in dividends. So it really depends whether you want to be completely short-sighted or, take the long-term approach for this, which, I saw years ago that if you do that, if you look, what's the long-term victory of here? It's, you can, it's a better game to play because you can keep giving yourself raises. You can become more valuable. And that's so much more fun than to just be a cheat on both sides. So hope that answers that question. Right. What is next here? So What was your first freelance writing project and how did you find it? So the first, I'd say, freelance writing project I had was it had to do with my first project, which was writing emails inside of Infusionsoft campaigns. So a lot of what I do is automation, and part of that automation is email automation. And within those emails, I'm writing a lot. So mostly all of the jobs that I've had have writing incorporated into the overall project. I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm a writer, because there's people that definitely write like a million times better than I do, but what I do is usually sales copywriting, and that's a little different. So I'm always writing, but I'm definitely not like writing stories and things like that. So I think when you're talking about like your first writing gig, that's going to be, it's highly competitive, and it's tough, but like the best writers are definitely going to get fed on a system like that. So, for me, it didn't take long because it was part of a, of a broader kind of need for my clients. So I was just, a part of it was writing. So, but if what you're doing is just writing, I fear it's going to take a little longer. But definitely have your portfolio perfect, your writing style. Maybe you're fitting into a specific niche. Maybe it is sales copywriting, and if you're doing that, then so many people need that stuff. So always look to incorporate your skill with kind of other skills. So if you write, maybe there's other things that you can do too. Maybe there's like blog creation or article creation, or and then that can lead to more things. So typically like one skill lends itself to the other. And, I know that some kind of like when you're super specialized, you don't even want to deal with that. So I get that. But yeah, just try and figure out, your niche, where you want what your corner of that platform to be, and just try to own it, and just, make yourself the best writer in that niche. And it's not going to take long if there's, enough people looking for that. Make sure that you're getting yourself involved in a niche where enough eyes are coming that way. And if there aren't enough eyes coming that way, then I would definitely say, figure out how to broaden it, because you don't want to cut yourself off from too many opportunities. Cool. So let's see here. Oop. All right. So how much money can you withdraw from your Upwork account? Well, I'd say the most amount of money that I've ever withdrawn from my Upwork account is probably, I don't know, 12, 13, 14,000, I'd say. So yeah, I don't think that there's any limit there. If there is, please let me know, but I think you're going to be all right. I wouldn't worry about it. So I know you can do at least 5 figures. How should I use Quora for Fiverr? And does Quora help me to get clients from my Fiverr gigs? I don't know, man. I don't know how. I guess, well, I get traffic from Quora to my blog site a lot. So I know that it can definitely bring traffic towards whatever you want it to do. The problem is, are those buyers that are going through your Quora? I suspect if you had a lot of people in Quora following you for a particular thing, like let's call it branding strategy or writing styles or consulting help, if you're known in Quora for being like the person for that, then I would assume that those people clicking through and wanting to check your Fiverr gigs, it could line up. So I think that I think that you could definitely, if you unlock that Rubik's Cube and figure it out, I think you could definitely make it work. I haven't been able to really make it work for Upwork, to my knowledge. No, I take that back. I think I have had clients find me on Quora, so that's cool. Yeah, more power to that. I think you can definitely do that. I've never had too much success on Fiverr, but I assume that if the traffic can work for Upwork, it can most likely work for Fiverr. So that's a really good question. Okay. Next one. And I'm going to take probably one more because I don't want these videos to be too long, because there's too much opportunity for me to mess up this stream. So I'm just going to do like batches here and batches there. Okay, so can checkout.com accept payments from Fiverr, Freelancer, or Upwork? I have no idea. I'm just going to skip that one. In which Turkish bank can I receive payments from Upwork? I have no idea. I'm going to skip that one too. What are the best steps to take to begin making money as a freelance artist or craftsman? I don't know. I'm going to skip that one too. Which is the best earning website? Ooh, Freelancer, Fiverr, or Upwork? Solid question. All right, so which is the best online earning website? Freelancer, Fiverr, or Upwork? That is the $1 million question that we are always talking about. I don't know if you've seen my podcast, Remote Freelancer, are always discussing this stuff. Now, the thing with Fiverr and Upwork, Freelancer, no, definitely not. I would just cross that one off right away. So let's just talk about Fiverr and Upwork. Those are the two hot shots. So the difference is you can kill it. You can straight murder it on both these platforms. I've seen people killing it on Fiverr, and I've killed it on Upwork, and there's a lot of people that kill it on Upwork. So they're both awesome for making money from home. Now, with Upwork, and I've said this a million times, for a lot of the projects that I do, it's mostly selling time for money. So if you're comfortable with that, that's awesome. Sometimes I'm comfortable with it, sometimes I'm not, but that's mostly my job, so I have to be. And I'm making what I want per hour, so it's quite enjoyable. Now, there's definitely a range, in what you can make per hour, but the name of the game for me at least was to start small, grow, and keep learning. So the thing with Upwork is you are essentially partnering, in a sense, with these different brands, with these different projects, and they are small to mid-term or long-term. I've had clients that have been my clients for 4 years plus, and I can just pick up work with them, whenever, and it's really awesome. So when I'm looking for projects, I'm looking for long-term partnerships, and that works for me. Now, for some people, it's better to be on Fiverr because they have very specific product offerings, and they are able to essentially have their offering and be able to put it on a shelf and say, this is how much that costs. Okay. Now, an example would be like, I'm going to make your logo. I'm going to rebrand your site. I'm going to write your article. It's very short, things that shouldn't take more than maybe a couple hours, and they're just done. There's very little communication with the client. Most of the time, these things are like half automated. So it's just like, oh, you bought my gig. Awesome. Here, send me this, and that. Cool. Okay, I'm going to send you it back. Mostly all the communication is automated. So you're not making any friends on there. This is like, I've ordered hundreds of gigs on Fiverr. I couldn't tell you one name of the person ever, period. And I don't even want to. Like there's no need. They could be completely different people. I don't even know. I don't even care. And they don't either. They want to just be like, bam, bam, bam. It's over. Next, please. So they have a queue of stuff that they're just knocking out, right? And that really works for them. And so there's people that are making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're probably making a lot more than I am on Fiverr, and probably doing less work now than now that they got their stuff set up. I've seen guys that like sell consulting hours, and it's just basically like videos that they're selling. So it's just like one of these like set it and forget it for some people, and it just really works for them. So they're cranking out money. For me, I tried to do the Fiverr. I don't think I gave it my like best effort, but yeah, I think that there's great opportunities in it if you're willing to figure out how to productize your offerings. For me, I'm just more of like a long-term Upwork dude, but both those things, Fiverr and Upwork, you can just murder it and work from wherever you want in the world. So I don't think it's an either or. It could be a both. It could be, there's no, I don't think there's, one that's better than the other. They are completely different things. So I don't think there's a best. For me, obviously I'm team Upwork, but I could, there is definitely a case to be made for team Fiverr, but there's no development teams on Fiverr. There's no long-term work on Fiverr. So it really comes down to like, what do you want to do? What's your skill set, and how do you want to work with clients? We could talk all day on that one, and I think we'll keep bringing that stuff up. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna basically cut it here, and hopefully this works. I have no idea. This whole broadcasting thing is completely new to me, so I don't even know if the sound's working. I hope it is. And yeah, I'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.